taking a vow not to step out of their comfort zones to permanently change the scenario into a fair deal for everyone, the citizens of Pakistan hurt themselves the most by staying illiterate. They are not educated. I'm not saying that books are a savior or a guarantee to an improved and a successful state, but I'm saying that when 90%, almost 90% of the masses is uneducated, you are asking for trouble. And the rest 10% who are educated have not been educated on a formatted principle, and out of the 10%, some decide to move out of the country, some decide to involve themselves into other professions, and the remaining decide to run the country. And the remaining few percent decide to join politics. Out of those few, a very few make it up in the ladder, in the level. Actually using the very limited potential and wasting a large chunk, about 90%. The kind of thing that Pakistan does never fails to surprise, more than what can be expected of her. A very logical question that comes to mind is that how did all these people, a whole nation, a whole country, turn into zombies? They have not been educated, they do not know. Their decisions are that's why immature. In 21st century, let's say they're not exposed to light. A whole generation is growing up without being able to study properly under a bulb because the electricity goes away. A whole generation, it's been almost 5 years now, has not spent a day where they've had constant electrical supply for 24 hours in a row. To me, they're going to depressed souls. Depressed souls who will never be able to become citizens that will be able to change the fate of their country. Still, nobody cares about it. There's talks, there's processions, there's rallies, there's discussions, there's elections, there's slogans, there's promises. But yet, no solution. They're still wondering whose fault it was. They're still angry at why it is, but not confident, not sure, do not know how to get rid of it, how to solve it. Let's see if they can do it anytime soon. But would it matter? After 80 years, let's say in around 2012, 4 friends meet up in a cafe in Vienna, love the place. One's Chinese, another one's Indian, one's from America, and the 4th one's from Pakistan. The Indian claims that it's on its way to becoming the world's biggest democracy. The Americans come to them looking for jobs. They're developing for themselves a parallel of America's Silicon Valley. Their hospitals have doctors who take care of people in other parts of the world when their doctors are sleeping during the nighttime. The Chinese laughs, smirks, and says that they still control the world economy. Their goods are distributed in every part of the world, and without them, nothing can go forward. Well, the American obviously says that he still has the biggest treasury, biggest reserves in the world, still the world superpower, still the biggest and most powerful country in the world. What does the Pakistani say? What is the achievement of his country after its creation today, almost 80 years, let's say, 2012? What can I say? I'll say, I don't lose electricity in my house anymore. We have constant power. Our fridges are cold. We have ice cold water. Our bulbs are lit up 24/7. They won't even understand, my friends, what losing electricity or not having constant electrical power means. Would that be my achievement? Would that be a decent time frame to come up with an achievement like this? Yes, we are one of the world's nuclear power. Doesn't matter. It helps us against a lot of external dangers or threats, protects us, saves us. But then, doesn't matter. Aren't we self-destructive? Aren't we ineffective? Our youth is turning into depressed souls because they get less points on their test. Not because they have not studied enough or they're not capable enough. It's because they had to study under a candlelight. There was no fan. There were bugs fighting them. They could not concentrate. They could not sleep at night. They did not eat enough. They still have fever because the doctor wasn't available. And when the doctor gave them medicine, it wasn't pure enough. Maybe he had diarrhea from not drinking pure water. Maybe he was sick, not well rested. And then at the end, not even well educated. Wow. My situation after the world has entered into the 21st century and at a point where we are looking for chances to move to Mars and to many other planets. So by the time we say we have conquered the world, Pakistanis, maybe the rest of you would have moved into Mars, leaving the world to ourselves, to us Pakistanis. Great achievement. Now, before I start being criticized for being a pessimist or a stereotype, let me pick out one sector that could have and has, to a point, done some good to the nation. Don't get your hopes up. I'm not talking about anybody that you can imagine right now. I'm only talking about the media of the country. They can help topple an army regime, bring an end to the martial law. They can help revive the highest law, the highest court in the country, the Supreme Court. They help shape the way people think. They go about creating awareness, and because of them, people make better decisions, but that is very subjective. But what they can do, because they're busy doing all these important stuff, is help bring a change and improve the education sector and the electricity crisis, the power crisis in the country. They can't do it. They don't have time for it. Yes, they pinpoint it every now and then, but they have potential to do so much, yet they do so much little about it. Reason? I don't know. Let me explain to you before many of them get mad, or maybe even you think that I am being unfair to them. So for example, a very, very famous political show from Pakistan called Capital Talk. The anchor pays a lot of attention to a burning issue in Pakistan. He dedicates a lot of shows to it. He also dedicates a lot of shows to what the White House says it does, what happens in Afghanistan, the small rat races that go on in the parliament, stupid activities that go about in the Senate. But how much time does he dedicate, or allot, towards the education sector? Maybe about 5 days in the whole year, 365 days. I ask, is that enough? Is that consistent enough to bring a change? That is not. He is in his comfort zone. He is in his comfort zone because now a common thing that he says is, I've done my job. I helped you get rid of a dictator. The judiciary is now free and is making good decisions. My job here is to sit and pinpoint different issues that should be looked upon and should be discussed. That is all I'm doing now. I am finger pointing things for you. I ask him a question. Isn't this statement criminal? Everything that he has done so far, getting rid of a dictator, making judiciary free, what difference has he made to the common man? Is he suffering less now because there's democracy? Is he suffering less now because the Supreme Court is making decisions about the president going to the Swiss court? I don't think so. He's fooling us. He's in his comfort zone. He cannot strive for excellence anymore because he's retired himself. But I say, why can't? Only if he strives for excellence at this point. He could stop doing shows about other irrelevant issues, for example, about what goes on in the parliament and the debates that happen in the Senate. Other anchors could deal with it. His not doing a show dedicated to White House or Afghanistan or Kabul or India or Delhi or China will not make a damn difference to the world. We'll still live. But what could make a difference at this point is the fact that if he decided to consistently do shows related to the education sector of the country for a whole year in a row, not talking about any other issue, it might make a difference. People might listen, people might be aware more, people might get mad, people might raise their voice, people might take out aggressions and processions and rallies that are actually, for the first time, for the right cause. The politicians might get alarmed. And actually, at the end of the year, he might be able to come with a solution or a result that he has been able to produce after a year's worth of efforts. Work on one issue. Keep on raising the same agenda every day. We've done things the conventional way for about 65 years now. Not helped the common man as yet. It doesn't matter if there's judiciary or martial law in the country. It doesn't make a damn difference to the common man. He's still suffering, he's still dying, he's still poor, he still does not have basic health necessities available to him. Well then why not focus on the issues that are more important, more long lasting? Why not do a show for 1 year in a row about the education sector and not worry about anything else that goes around in the world? That way we might be able to make a difference. But they don't do so. To me, this is the media staying in their comfort zone. To me, this is the media not wanting to strive for excellence. They have retired themselves, they have done a job, but the job they've done so far might be worth millions, billions, trillions to other people. To me, worthless, ineffective, and the way they're acting right now, criminal.